Hi, so my name is Curtis Miller. I'm the online instructor. I was going to go over Prove1 and see if I could solve it. Maybe try to give some pointers on TestBed and both Prove1. So I'm going to get started. I'm using Thonny. I think most of you are using Visual Studio Code. I'm kind of doing the old school way. You save it. You use something like MobiXterm to transfer it. I know with Visual Studio Code, some of that stuff can be done, that can be done more automatically by putting a setting in. So I'm just going to look at the assignment. I'm going to have my assignment here to the left, my code here to the right. You'll watch me mess up. The thing about programming is some days I feel like I'm a really good programmer. Other days I just feel like I keep messing up and I'm back in college again or something, even after more than 20 years. So anyway, it says we're writing a program that randomly generates a number 1 to 100 that prompts the user to guess. Okay, and we have a sample output. Now the sample output is important to look at. Notice there's spaces after this. There's a space between here and here. There's a new line between here and here. Things like that. It's important, and there's no new lines here. It's important to realize that. The TestBed wants you to print out everything in this order. And I'll show you some secrets to the TestBed. The important thing is try to write your program so it'll output like this. If it's not outputting like this, continue to correct it until it does. Otherwise, the TestBed won't pass. You'll get kind of frustrated. Some people ask me, well, why do we use TestBed? A lot of these little details will be important as you do any type of software. Seeing the little details, it's always the little details that get you. I can't get this thing to work for an hour and a half, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever it is. And it's some little detail because you have to look at that. You have to look and see it. Okay, so we're supposed to produce this output. Great. Okay. It gives you a hint here. Oh, here's a way to get a random number. Okay. We're supposed to do a random number between 1 and 100. So we would probably do something like this for a random number generator. Okay. Yeah. All right. In order for TestBed to predict what random numbers you will be, you need to create a seed with certain values to begin. This can be done by importing random, then calling random.seed function with a value. This only needs to be called once at the beginning of your program. So we need to do this at the beginning of the program. One of the things I find interesting here is, so this seed value should be only done once. I noticed this number random, it shouldn't be 1 in 50, it should be 1 in 100. So we'll change that. 1 in 100. Okay. So what are we supposed to do? Okay. Looks like the pattern here is it welcomes you to the game. You enter a random seed. You enter a guess, and it tells you whether the guess is lower or higher than what you entered. So it says lower, so they entered lower. Oh, it's higher than 25. They entered 30. They entered 35. All right. So this looks like a while loop right here. So what you'll want to do is, let's say, okay, so first things we want to do. Okay. So it looks like there's the welcome stuff and the seed stuff that happens in the beginning. So I'm going to print out, something like what we need to do, right? Okay, so a couple things. Welcome to the number guessing game. Looks like that only happens once, and then there's a play again. But so and then it does the same thing. So we want something, some kind of loop for our play again, and some, and something that will go through and have them guess until a condition happens. So say, okay, welcome to the number guessing game. Enter a random seed. Notice how I put a space right here because there's a space right here. Okay. And then, so we've done this random.seed. And remember in the instructions it said we only want to do that once. So we only do that once. Okay. Let's do this random number between 1 and 100. Now what we want to do is let's make a number for play again. False. I always have to look. Okay, so it's this type of syntax in Python. Python's funny. It determines the type by what you set it to. So this is a Boolean now. Okay, so I'm going to do something like this. While play again equals false. No, equals true. Okay, well, initially I want this, the first time we play, we want this to be true. Okay, and then the concept is you want to indent your while loop. Otherwise, if you have code over here, like let's say I print the only way Python knows whether you're in your while loop is whether you have indented all functions. So this print right here is not in your while loop. If I went like that, then it would be inside my while loop. So everything in the while loop has to be indented. Okay. So I've got my random number. I'm going to need to do something like please enter a guess. So again, I just do an input statement. Please enter a guess. Okay. And I have to remember okay, so made a mistake there. Need a space like right there. So this is going to be a string, so I have to convert this to a number. So I'm going to say guess equals guess like that. Okay. Okay. Another thing is at the end, I'm going to have to say how many guesses it took. So I'm going to want some variable to keep track of the so int num guesses. Okay, start it out at 0. If, and here I'm going to say, okay, so now we have a number that has the guess. Guess is greater than seed. Pretty sure seed returns a, oh no, the number. So seed is greater than the number. I'm going to say num guess plus plus. Okay, I need a little colon right here. Num guess plus plus. And then I'm going to print lower. Okay, so guess is greater than number. If they guessed a number, so let's say the number was 25, and they guessed 42. So guess would be 42 greater than 25, so that we want to print lower. Okay? Else, if I'm trying to remember how to do syntax else if here. Else if, like that. Notice how everything's indented. Else if, yeah. Number is greater than guess. And okay. Print higher. Okay. Now, what if it equals the number? Well, if they got the guess, looks like over here we're supposed to say, congratulations, you guessed it. It took you 7 guesses. Would you like to play again? Okay. Well, if I look at this, this is going to go over and over again. So we want some kind of loop in here. And then when we're done, we want to, we want a loop that's just continue ask for guess, and prints higher or lower. And then after it's done, it's going to print a space, a new line. So, and it looks like there's a line before this as well. But for now, let me just print yes. This will print a new line. So we'll print a new line after lower or higher. This looks like what it's doing every time. Okay. We could put, there's a few ways to solve this, but I'm going to do 2 while loops. While guess does not equal num. In other words, if we didn't guess the number, just keep looping through and asking whether they got it or not. Notice I haven't indented that so that this is inside this while loop. Okay, so it just continues and prints higher number. If it's done with this while loop, if guess equals number, this will not be true and it'll fall out. And we want to go, so we want to go indent it right here. Then we're going to want to say print congratulations, you guessed it. Okay. Print it took you 7 guesses. Now, there's a lot of print functions that will do this easier, but I'm just going to do this. Okay, 7 is not going to be fixed. We want to do number of guesses, right? We've been keeping track. We've added up the guesses each time. So when it exits into here, Well, this is wrong. If you got it right the first time, it took you 1 guess. You got it wrong, and then you're on the second guess as you go through. Okay, so what we want to do is it took you. You have to convert the number to a string because number is a guess plus took you. Okay. It took you 7 guesses. Then I want to print a new line. Okay. We want to start the number of guesses over to 1. Right? Well, first of all, let's do this. Let's print this. Would you like to play again? Okay. Okay, well, it needs to be an input, right? Would you like to play again? Yay or nay? Okay. Instead of guess string, let's say play again string. And we say if play again string equals yes, then we're going to say we're going to set this play again variable to true, right? Or here's another way to do it. Because the variable is always true. When the game ends, it's false. And it'll loop around, it'll get here, and it says it's false doesn't equal true, and it'll come out. Okay, so, but if it's true, it'll go back up here, please enter a guess. Gotta keep going. Okay. So to keep going around, we'll say number of guesses equals 1. We're starting a new game. We also need to get another random number, otherwise we're just going to be playing the same game over and over again. Okay. So congratulations, you guessed it. Took you 7 guesses. Would you like to play again? Yes, no. Okay. So let's go through and let's just save this file. Prove1. And I'm just going to save it under my downloads. Okay. So now I'm going to go and just run this to see what it does. Invalid syntax. Number of guesses equals 1. Line 8. Oh. Well, in other languages you specify the type before you do that. So, typeless language, don't need to do that. So, good catch, compiler. Guess plus plus. Doesn't like that. Okay. I don't know why it doesn't like the plus plus, but oh well. I think needs that, yep. Okay. All right. Now we'll start it. We'll start. Okay. Okay. So now we're starting a number guessing game. It looks like the output over here. And I'm just going to enter a cat in here. Please enter a guess. Well, I noticed one thing. It doesn't have the little colon after it. So we need to fix that. So I'm just going to stop and fix that. Okay. Okay. So let's save it and get started again. Cat. Please enter a guess. 42. Oh, it just keeps printing lower. Okay, so what did I do wrong? Guess is greater than number, print lower. Else if number. Okay, here's the problem. Guess, we got a number. Well, we got a string for the number, which my first guess was 42, and converted it to an integer. Well, guess is not an equal number. It prints lower. Goes to the bottom of here. Goes back to this file. Guess does not equal number. It prints lower. Okay, well, I guess we need to ask them for another. So let's see. I think I need to do this down in the while loop so that we ask him for a guess each time. Right now we're just printing lower and higher over and over again. Okay. Make sure it's in my while loop. Okay. Guess string. Okay. All right. So now it should ask for a new guess. And it's going to look again. Ask for a new guess and look again. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, let's run it. Enter a random seed, cat. Enter a guess. 42. Lower. So it printed lower and put a space, but there's no space between the enter a random seed and that, so that's probably an error. I'm going to leave that error in there just because I want to show you how to look at TestBed. Okay, so it says lower, so I'll do 25. It says higher, I'll do 30. It says higher, 35, lower, 33, lower, 32, lower, 31. Okay, congratulations, you guessed it. It took you 31 guesses. Huh. Well, somewhere my counter's off that adds up the guesses. Oh, look, I printed guesses here. Guess is the 31 is the number that the right guess. And I should have printed out this variable. So let me just stop and correct that. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So start this again. At 42, 25, 30, 35, 33, 32, 31. Okay, it took you 7 guesses. Would you like to play again? Okay, so I've noticed would you like to play again? It needs a little question mark by it. I didn't put that there. I'm just going to stop it and we're going to fix that. Notice as I'm going, I'm trying to correct all these things, right? And look, there's a little space after that, so I'm going to put a little space after that, okay? And it looks like after we're done with this, there's a space here, a new line. So we'll put a new line in here. Print. Okay. Okay. Now we'll do it again. Oh. Now stop. We want to try to get it. We'll run it again. Okay. Cat 42, 25, 30, 35, 33, 32, 31. So if you notice my output, I'm just going to compare it to the left. Looks the same, other than we don't have a space right here. Everything else is the same. Now, TestBed won't pass because of that space, but I'm leaving it in there purposely so that later we can add it. But notice I'm trying to, as I go along, figure this out. Please enter a guess. There's a space between that. Congratulations, took you 7 guesses. Would you like to play again? So I'll say yes, and notice there's a space between the question mark and yes. Yes, okay. Please enter a guess, 75. See? It looks like this is all matching pretty well. 80, 90, 85, 82. Congratulations, you guessed. It took you 5 guesses. Would you like to play again? No? Okay. So it looks like I got the output right. Except for this thing right here. Thank you, goodbye. Okay, so where do I want that in my program? Well, probably outside the while loop after we're done playing the game. So I'll just put here, print. Thank you, goodbye. Okay, so I think I'm done with my program. It looks pretty good. I did that. Try to do all the spacing. So let me do TestBed. Notice I saved it to my desktop. So I'm going to do MOBA term. And notice I didn't get this right the first time. Made a lot of mistakes. Made some logical errors, like this. Where it's going over and over again. That's just part of programming. You kind of learn it. Okay, so I take my desktop, I go here to downloads, where I save my thing, and I'm just going to drag it over here. So MOBA Xterm is an FTP program, so what I've done is I've taken it out of my computer, moved it over to the Linux box on home Miller CU. So if I do a Linux command to see what's in the, do pwd, and notice I'm in the home Miller CU directory. So I do ls to list the directory, and you see Prove1 tutorials right there. So to do TestBed, I do this, I believe. Should be in the instructions. We'll find it. TestBed. Assign 01. Okay. So this is the name of the assignment, the class / the assignment name. And then you can put anything you want here. Mine happens to be Prove1 tutorial py. Okay. What? Look at this. Doesn't this really suck? I made the program work, but it timed out. It didn't test anything. Okay. So here's how you read the TestBed output. The stuff in red is what you printed. The stuff after exp : is what it expected. So in this case, I printed please enter a guess, and it expected a new line. The way you read it is fix the first error first, and so on and so forth. So, okay, let me go back to my program. It just needs a new line before we start. So let me just put a new line in here after enter random seed. Okay, I'll save it. I'll do the same thing to transfer it up. So I can't get it right the first time. Okay, pull it up over here. It's all I'm doing is FTPing it up there. So MOBA Xterm is an FTP program, and it also has a Linux shell that you can type. Okay, so now I'm going to do the same thing again. Known fact, if you hit the up arrow, it'll go through the commands you've typed before. So I'm just hitting the up and down arrows. Oh, I've got it all in there. Let me run it again. Okay. Well, okay. These are all the tests it ran. It looks like enter a random guess, all that. Please enter a guess or random. Congratulations, you guessed it. So this one, I put a D in the, because I can't spell. It wanted a T, so I'll go over here. I'll put a T in here to fix that one. Now that didn't mess, it wasn't looking for a new line, so I'm going to keep going in the next error. Same thing there, had the same problem. Okay, would you like to play again? Yes, no. I said no. I put a new line, and it expected thank you, goodbye. Okay. So it looks like in the case, well, let's see, go look back and look at the output. In the case when you're not playing again, you don't put a new line, you just say thank you, goodbye. So here's what I'm going to do. We have this. I'm just going to add my print to that if statement, and then it won't hit this print. It'll set the random number again. Oh no, actually it will, because it'll say, because let's say I put it right here, right? This is false, but it's still going to execute these lines before it goes back up here to this while condition. makes it false. Why don't I do this? Because we know we need the new line here. You know, there's other ways to do this. I probably could have done this logic better. Just going to say, if play again is yes, then we'll put the print in there. That'll avoid the print when we're saying thank you, goodbye. Okay, let's just do that. See if that... Okay, what other errors did we get? Let's go back here. I think that's about it. I printed that, expected that. Okay. And that was test 1. Looks like a lot of the same issues, but I'm just going to see where we're at now. Okay. Throw it over there. Okay. Again, I'll put the up arrow on here. We'll run it again. Cool. Passed with no errors. Okay. So that's my tutorial. Hopefully this helps you kind of understand the test bed and what it's doing. Kind of a way to go through and think about the assignment. I could look at making this more efficient. I think if the print is inside the while loop, then I might not need this additional if down there or whatever, but you know, this is a pretty good loop and a way to do this. So hopefully this helps with Prove1, helps you get going on it, helps you understand how to read TestBed. Thanks.